Hey, all you ghoulish gourmets, and I am running behind once again. I don't know why this big arm is in my view. Let's move this over a little bit. Um, we are going to be making, oh, and I didn't add the extra camera, did I? Um, Permit me to go add the extra camera real quick here, and I will be right back. Okay. So now I got the extra camera added. I was having trouble getting the camo cam connected. And I'm currently trying to see. This is what happens when you try to multitask and you multitask badly. I was trying to get a lot of this stuff fixed up and ready to go. Um, and if you hear background sound, Steve is watching a martial arts movie, I'm guessing. He said he didn't know I was doing one of these today, and I've been talking about it all day, uh, doing it. But he said he thought I was talking about the fry house. But anyway, but that's next week when we'll be making LG's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 fry house. Hey, Blissful. But I don't currently have, I couldn't find I was trying to find my apron to put it on, and I see it now, but I think I'm just going to say forget it for today. Y'all have to see me sans apron, um, because once again, when I was trying to get the haunted food cam set up. The camo was not cooperating. I finally got it to cooperate, and then I forgot to add the extra camera. So I'm not rich enough to hire guys to have an extra camera crew to film me from all angles like some people do that do this. I don't know if they do it for a living or not, but um, I'm just a pretty small production, and so let's get to what we're going to be making. If you weren't sure, um, this is Shakma infused Gorilla Bread. Now, for those of you that have seen the movie Shakma, first of all, it's a crazy ass movie. Second of all, it doesn't have a gorilla in it. It has a baboon that goes crazy, goes berserk, uh, and starts killing people, like ripping them to shreds. So I had not made my gorilla bread for Christmas like I usually do. I just ran out of time. And for those of you that have dealt with cream cheese, you know that even if you have it in the refrigerator, and cream cheese is one of the ingredients I need for this, um, it's going to mold if you don't use it fairly quickly. So I thought I better get this show on the road and get this done. So I was like, why don't I just incorporate this into a movie, Munchies, and I can kill two birds with one stone. And so that is what I'm doing today. So we'll bring up the haunted food cam so you can see that I have my bunt pan all ready to go. Hey, Blair. Um, so we got the bunt pan all ready to go. I just have to spray it with some Pam. Um, so hopefully our stuff won't stick. So I'm going to do that right now. And we want to spray it real good. So hopefully when, we go to get this out, when we take some portions out for ourselves, or when we go to dump this on a plate, because you're really supposed to invert it on a plate, it will not stick, is my hope. Sometimes I've had it stick, sometimes I haven't had it stick. So, um, in case you were wondering, this recipe is not one that I originally came up with. I'm just adapting it to the movie Munchies. So this is a Paula Deen recipe. I don't know how all of you that are watching this now and that may be watching this later feel about Paula Deen. However, I think her recipes, quite a few of her recipes are good. So this isn't hard to make. I have made one substitution in the type of nuts that I'm using in this, and I will get to that in a minute. I have put the recipe that I'm using in the description for this video in case you guys and gals want to check it out. And if you don't want to do the substitution that I'm going to do with the nuts, if you like the particular type of nuts that they have in the recipe, that is fine. Um, and you can do it that way. Now I may have to step away to let Sammy in because he wanted to go outside right before I got ready to do this. It never fails. So let's get to the ingredients, including the substitution that uh, is going to be made here. Well, so you say you have two of our deep dish pie pans. Love them. Yeah, I get a lot of Pioneer Woman stuff. I can't say I've ever gotten Paula Deen bakeware or cookware, but I have gotten a lot of Pioneer Woman type of stuff, which, by the way, I'm not going to be using this today, but my mother in law got me this Dutch oven Pioneer Woman for Christmas. I was just showing that off there. Um, so, what do we need to make this? And this is like the prep time is 10 minutes, the cook time is 30 minutes. So it's not real difficult. And I think, most anybody could make this, even people with limited cooking skills. Okay. Um, and not mess it up. So, and I know some people tell me, "Oh, Dana, you don't know me," but yeah, this is a relatively simple recipe. Makes 12 to 14 servings according to the recipe. Oh, thank you, Blisswood. I think it's pretty too. Um, so we've got our pan sprayed. I've got the oven set for 350 degrees to bake this. Um, so the ingredients we need a half a cup of granulated sugar. Now, because I'm diabetic, I'm using the Splenda sugar blends. Okay. But if you have no medical issues where you're needing to limit your sugar intake, by all means, use granulated sugar. So I have a cup of granulated sugar or sugar substitute if you're on a restricted sugar diet. You need 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. And I just have, the Kroger brand ground cinnamon. You can see the little Kroger thing there. And what else do we need? We need a half a cup, one stick of butter, which use whatever butter you want to use. I'm not going to tell you that you use a specific kind. If you want to use margarine instead of butter, you can do that because I did that for years until I finally started using real butter to do everything. You need 1 cup of packed brown sugar. Again, I'm using a brown sugar blend because I am on a restricted sugar diet due to diabetes. But if you are not, then feel free to use your favorite brand of brown sugar. We need 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese. Again, that can be whatever type of cream cheese that you want to use. If it's a store brand, which is what I use, I think I picked up the Great Value brand at Walmart. You just need 8 ounces of it. Okay. You need 2 12-ounce cans of refrigerated biscuits. Don't really worry if they don't say 12 ounces. The main thing is that you have 10 biscuits per can. Okay. So if you get 2 cans of refrigerated biscuits that have 10 each, you will be perfectly fine. Don't worry about the 12 ounce. Okay. And then here's where I made my substitution 1.5 cups of coarsely chopped walnuts. I do not like walnuts. If you like walnuts, you are free to use those in this recipe. However, I prefer pecans. So I have a cup and a half of chopped pecans already measured out. Okay. So that was my one substitution I made for this recipe. Hey, TJ. TJ says no carbs after this weekend, but I'll live vicariously through this. So you can't have any carbs after this weekend, TJ? Is this a New Year's resolution? Is this I mean, I'm not trying to be too nosy. Is this a religious thing or is it a medical thing? I'm just, if it's a medical thing, I'm very sorry to hear that because I know how I felt when I first found out that I was diabetic, and at first I thought my life was over. Due to the advent of like the different types of sweeteners, no longer are we restricted by just like sweet and low, which is, I just don't like that saccharin based stuff. I think saccharin is nasty. Some people may be able to adapt perfectly to it. Whenever I first found out I was diabetic, I think basically the two things were saccharin and equal. And the thing about equal is it's great if you're going to put it in cold drinks like tea or something like that. But if you were going to try to bake with it, no, it loses its sweetness very, very easily. So I was so glad when Splenda started putting out these baking blends. Um, so I think I've got everything ready to go. So we've sprayed our bundt pan with nonstick cooking spray. I have already mixed the sugar or sweetener and cinnamon together, and now in the saucepan before I got on here, I melted and it. Trust me, I'm going to mix this up a little bit more so it looks a little better. But this is basically brown sugar, or in my case, brown sugar Splenda blend uh, with a stick of butter melted into it. Okay, so I'm trying to get that. And I hope you guys and gals don't mind that for the last few of these, I've been pretty much preparing everything and then just showing you basically how to, assemble or get it ready to bake or something like that. Because I figure people don't need to see me melting butter and the brown sugar and all that kind of stuff. They just really want to see, hey, What's this going to look like? How do I need to layer it or whatever? Okay. So also, let me get these out so I can show you. I've done you guys a favor and didn't make you sit and watch me do this. But these are the biscuits, which you take all the biscuits out of the two cans and you flatten them with your fingers. And then uh, you can cut the cream cheese into 20 pretty well equal squares, okay? Because you're going to have 20 biscuits total, okay? Uh, and of course, like I said, press the biscuits out with your fingers, and then you're going to sprinkle each with a half a teaspoon of the cinnamon sugar that you already prepared. Yes, opening those biscuit cans are an adrenaline rush. Uh, blissful. I was actually getting aggravated at these I was doing today because they were um they were not I was pressing on the damn thing and it wasn't wanting to like pop open. Um okay. So and then you place a cube of cream cheese in the middle of the biscuit. And then you just, you seal them. As you can see here, I seal them kind of in a crescent shape. That's what works best for me. Okay. So once you get all of that done and got the biscuit dough sealed around the cream cheese and the cinnamon sugar, you're going to sprinkle a half a cup of nuts into the bottom of the butt pan. So I'm going to go over here and we are going to, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out a half cup and I'm going to use my spoon that says you have been poisoned. Y'all probably can't see that very good, but this is that new spoon that I got. And I'm just going to move that over a second. We're going to measure out half cup of these chopped pecans or walnuts if you're using what the original recipe says. And there's probably some people that like walnuts. Okay, so we're just going to sprinkle these in the bottom of our bun. Steve says he's going to help me eat this Gorilla Bread, so I'm hoping he does. Because even though this is relatively sugar-free, I, don't need to indulge too much in it. We'll just try to get them pretty evenly. And it's easier to do this in a butt pan, but, I'm sure you could use other kind of pans if you don't happen to have a butt pan. All right. So we got do you use imitation monkey? No monkey in this, TJ, thankfully. Just the thought of monkey meat being in something just kind of makes me cringe. Okay. So we're going to place half of our prepared biscuits in the pan. So remember, we had 20 total biscuits. So we're going to, and then you can lay these any way you want, but I kind of just try to lay them like this on top of those pecans. Or, okay, I'm just trying to make sure because I lose count sometimes. Yeah. Okay. So we did 10 on the bottom. But, again, I'm not saying that they don't say specifically how you need to lay that in the pan. So, um, and again, I wouldn't advise licking fingers in mixed company, but, I've had a little bit on my hand and it was sweet and it tasted good. So, all right. So, so now we're going to sprinkle with some cinnamon sugar. And remember, we had this already prepared here. Gonna try to sprinkle it pretty evenly over top of the biscuits and the pecans. It almost sounds like Steve's asleep in there. I think he might be. All right. So, this is really looking good, right? It's still snowing blissful. We had a few big flakes. They were pretty earlier, but now, it's 38 degrees here. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to see any significant snow. But I'm glad somebody's getting some snow. Um, okay, so now we're going to pour half of our melted butter and brown sugar over top of this. So just, get it as even as you can here. Just drizzling that over there. And I'm telling you, I consider this decadent. I love this stuff. But I usually only make it one time a year, uh, which is Christmas time. Doesn't that look good, guys and gals? Hope it does. A little bit. Okay, then we'll save the rest of it here. All right. Now, and sprinkle on another half cup of nuts. So we are going to do this again. We're going to get another half cup of nuts. Didn't know you were going to have to use your math skills, right? There we go. So you're just doing layers here. That's why I said this is fairly easy to do. Hey, Russell. Oh, Blair, you say it's going to snow in Kansas City tomorrow? That's awesome. I gotta say, I'm glad that some people are getting some snow for whatever reason. Though it just seems to, when snow is in the forecast, it just seems to warm up around here. Too much so for us to get any significant snow. And I'm sure. Whoops. And I never said I wasn't messy at times. The measuring cup kind of slipped on me and thought I was going to drop it. Don't want to do that. All right. So we got of another layer of pawns in there. Uh, Now we're going to layer the remaining biscuits, our remaining 10 biscuits, into the bundt pan. So this is, like I said, this is a very layered dessert. Sometimes I have to pick these up and move them around to get them all to fit nice and neat in there. There we go. All right. So now we're going to sprinkle with the remaining cinnamon sugar. So we're going to do this. Try to do it as even as you can, but there's really no science to it. It's just however you like it. If you hear snoring, that is Steve. He's out of it now. There we go. And then once we did that, then we're going to put this remaining brown sugar and butter mixture. Just going to drizzle that as evenly as we can over top here. Like I said, I hope these recipes look appetizing enough that it makes you guys and gals want to make your own. I don't know how many people have even heard of Gorilla Bread, made monkey bread, Gorilla Bread, by the way, which this is basically similar to monkey bread, which I think a lot more people have heard of monkey bread rather than Gorilla Bread. I mean, I certainly have the first time I heard about it. I was like, boy, that sounds really good. And then we're going to put the rest of our pecans, spilling stuff again. Again, like I said, there's really no science to this. Just try to get it as right. And if you're allergic to nuts of any kind, or you just don't like nuts, and there's nothing says that you have to have this on here. I just like them, and thankfully I'm not allergic to them. All right. So now that we've got everything layered, we're going to bake this for 30 minutes. And this is where I really need those commercials to put in here. Um, but there's our layered Gorilla Bread. I'm going to set it in the oven now and set the timer for 30 minutes. So I don't want to stop the whole entire stream, but what I'm going to do is if you guys want to take a break and go away for a little bit, come back in 30 minutes, then I should be back on here to show you what this looks like when it comes out of the oven. Liz, what you say I've made monkey bread before. This recipe is much more decadent. Yes, it is. It certainly is. Um, but I think, for those of you that enjoy monkey bread, I think you will. I think you will enjoy the added decadency. Uh, yeah, you can go back to playing in the snow, and if you want to come back in 30 minutes, Blissful and everybody else, I just don't like to I keep you guys and gals on here any longer than necessary, just glued to this. So I am going to take myself out and I am going to remove both views. So, for those of you that want to stay in here, but I can't imagine why you'd want to stay in here for 30 minutes while this is cooking. But if you want to come back in, well, now about 28 minutes, and see what this is going to look like, I am in the meantime going to let Sammy back in and all that, and I will see you guys in a few. Hey everybody, and I am back. Let's add the haunted food cam here. Um Blair, I'm not sure if I have a favorite Jaws ripoff movie. I mean, I would have to think on that. But if anybody else has a favorite Jaws ripoff movie, feel free to put that in the chat. Looks like we got three people back. Um, And I'm sorry, I'm going to try to minimize things like that by giving you either something to watch in the way of commercials or something, so that we don't have these long stretches of time. I just hated to cut the stream off and come and do a second one, which is why I did this way. So we can see that we have our Gorilla Bread out of the oven now. So we need to let it cool for about 5 minutes so I can kind of BS with you guys and gals while we're waiting for this to cool. Now, we're going to invert this onto a plate here when 5 minutes is up. And I'm going to attempt to do this without either burning myself, dropping crap on the floor. Well, not crap, dropping this lovely dessert on the floor, or hopefully it won't stick on me. Hopefully I put enough cooking spray, non-stick cooking spray, to prevent it from sticking to my butt pan. Um, so I want to remind people while we're waiting for this to cool, I want to remind everybody that I will be doing another watch along tonight for just one of the guys, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I really have no clue what I've lined up for the next week, other than, barring anything happening, me and TJ will be doing another edition of Tales from the Crypt. We're on to season 6. And then once we finish season 6, we'll have one more season, season 7. And we'll be ready to move on to another horror anthology television show. So I've got that coming up. Next Friday, we should have another midday with Dana and Jay. Now, poor Jay, since he got his last COVID booster, he's been feeling a little achy and not feeling really good. Which is probably why he's not in the chat for this. He's probably getting him some rest and stuff. Everybody's sending Jay some well wishes and stuff that he gets over the side effects of that COVID booster. Um, and if anybody is watching this, I don't think us guys and gals that are currently in here are like this. But or anybody that watches this later that is an anti-vaxxer, I'm not going to say bad things about you if you're an anti-vaxxer, but all I can say is be kind to Jay or anybody else that has gotten the vaccine. Someone has already called Jay a numbskull for getting this, and I just want to say, just be kind. It's okay uh, to not believe the way certain people believe, and vice versa. Don't call people a numbskull for going and getting a vaccine that they think is going to protect them. So I don't know who called him a numbskull. I'm not calling anybody out or anything. Um, I don't think it was anybody that comes into my streams, but just be kind, people. Be kind. If that particular person watches this stream later, all I'm asking you is to be kind. You don't have to believe the same way Jay does, or I do, or anybody else does, but just don't be nasty. There's no reason for it. So just public service announcement on my part to just be kind to everybody, regardless of how you believe about what they done. Somebody getting a vaccine is certainly not hurting you. Okay. It's not like Jay's going out and murdering somebody. He's just getting a vaccine. Um, but anyway, get off my soapbox now. Mhm. And we're just about ready to invert this this dessert onto our plate. And you may notice that I'm using the same plate that I had the biscuits sealed up with the cream cheese and the cinnamon sugar mixture, and that's perfectly fine. Uh, just in the last few seconds before we try to get this out of the pan, I just wanted to, and I'm not trying to treat anybody like a moron or anything like that. Um, I just food safety, because this particular dessert has cream cheese in it. Once it cools down all the way and you're not eating it at the moment, I would recommend, and I want my timer, I would seriously recommend you put it in the refrigerator. Because why? Because it's got cream cheese in it. And I don't want anybody to get sick. Because, when you have a box of cream cheese, you have it in the refrigerator, right? So anything that's made with that, my thoughts are you should stick it back in the refrigerator when you're done eating it, when it has cooled down. Okay, so we're going to attempt this, okay? So we're going to put our plate on top of this, and then we're just going to flip it over, okay? Very carefully here. And hopefully, sometimes I will tap it a little bit. And be careful because it is still a little warm, even though it's sat here and cooled um, for 5 minutes. And most of it came off, okay? But, however, I do have some nuts and some brown sugar and butter still in the bottom of the pan. This came out pretty nicely, but what I'm going to do here, let's put right there for a second, is I am going to get one of my spoons here, and I am going to just try to get some of this. And if it falls in the middle, it's fine. I have that. Um, but I'm just going to put it on the top of this, just so we don't waste any of this gooey goodness. This is the best Gorilla Bread I've had turn out. Guess that was due to probably me putting enough cooking spray on the inside of this butt pan. If it came out of there pretty easily this time. Oops. I'm making a little mess again. Again, if you're in mixed company, don't be licking your fingers and stuff because it might gross people out. Unless you're like Jay. And he just, if they come to my house and it's my kitchen, they should expect it. I'm just trying to get as much of this gooey goodness out as I possibly can. The one thing I don't like to do is waste. I absolutely hate to waste stuff, especially food. Okay. So, just so you guys and gals can get a really good look at that, you can see some of my pecans and brown sugar and butter have went into the center. That's fine. It is perfectly fine. Um, But hopefully, you guys and gals have enjoyed watching me make this Shakma infused Gorilla Bread. Hopefully, this will not cause you to go crazy like Shakma in the movie. Merely, it will be a delicious, albeit decadent treat for you to enjoy. Not only during the holiday season, but you can make this anytime. Um, in fact, I didn't make this around Christmas this year. You know, we were well after New Year's. So I hope that many of you will want to create your own Stockman infused Gorilla Bread, or just Gorilla Bread if you want to call it that. Um, I have a bad habit of doing that. Just um, hopefully, you guys and gals will want to try this out yourself. And some people think it's gross when you put cream cheese and stuff like that. However, there's a lot of desserts that call for cream cheese, actually. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you want to try this out yourself. In fact, I'm going to try a little bit of this here in just a second. And be sure to tune in next Sunday, probably around the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, for LG's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 Fry House. I'm going to attempt this, uh, and I'm going to be using a copycat recipe for Five Guys Cajun fries. So, any of you guys and gals that made at Five Guys, I don't know how many Five Guys restaurants there are, but Steve introduced me to Five Guys, and I like their hamburgers quite a bit, but man, their fries, that is, as people would say, they are the bomb. Okay, in my opinion. Thank you, Blair. You said that was awesome. I hope I didn't repeat that because sometimes I forget what uh, messages I've read off. And tonight, the watch along for just one of the guys starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Um, I have been asked also, letting everybody know, to create a TMI show T-shirt design, um, which I'm going to start working on here shortly. Um, and I'm also going to be working on some commercials to put in these videos, commercials for movie Munchies, commercials for some of the other streams I do. Just because I love messing around with Canva and stuff like that and making things. You guys and gals have heard me talk about how I love making intros using Canva. Um, Blair, you say yes, that show was legendary. Everybody keeps telling, or almost everybody keeps telling me that's one that's going to go down in the books. We are going to have a TMI show too. However, it's going to be a little more tamed down. I don't want to disappoint anybody. There's still going to be interesting stuff, funny stuff, all of that. It's just going to be toned down. I think we have told all of our, other stories that were told on the first TMI show. I'm glad people enjoyed it. I'm glad people were entertained. I went through a a little mental crisis there after we done it, and was talking to Jay about it, and I didn't think he did anything wrong, but I thought myself I might have went a little too far. um, Jay assured me I didn't. Other people have assured me I didn't. So I kind of, after about a day and a half, I calmed down about it. Um, and now I consider it just part of the history of my channel, um, and my history of doing streams with Jay. So, but I could ramble on here more, but I won't. So I want to thank everybody for being in here with me, watching me make the chocolate infused Gorilla Bread. hope everybody keeps tuning in to watch whatever I may do next. And usually I don't promote my channel that much. But if you like my content, if you like what I'm doing, if it gives you some sort of enjoyment, please like and or subscribe to Deadites on Deck. I would love to have you. If you feel that you like the channel even more and want to join the channel and pay a little few bucks a month and get little extra perks here and there, feel free to do that. I'm not uh, trying to shame anybody into doing it or anything like that. But if you feel like you want to throw a few bones my way, then you can do that. Or you can just simply like and subscribe and uh, share information about my channel. I'm now up over 700 subscribers. I think I'm at 706 now. And God bless each and every one of you guys and gals that have, taken time out of your day to watch my streams, to watch the videos that I put up, to take an interest in the channel, to support me, because it means so much. So, and there's a lot of ways you can support me, not only with money, because everybody doesn't have money to spend on everything. Support comes in many ways. Just you guys and gals coming in the chat and saying, "Hey, Dana, this was an awesome live," or whatever. That's support too. So I'm not saying that the only supporters are people that give me money. That is definitely not what I'm saying. But I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the afternoon. I've got to bake Steve some French fries and heat him up a piece of chicken so my dear husband, will not starve to death. And I will be back a little bit later with the Just One of the Guys watch along. Thanks, guys and gals. Love each and every one of you. I'll see you next time.